Well, welcome everyone. I'm so excited for those of you that are joining us live. And I want to also send a shout out to everybody who's watching the recording. Hopefully you'll have get lots of information and be calling me tomorrow. I'm Suzanne Clausen, and my husband Steve and I own CruiseOne in Sholo, Arizona. And we're joined by Bonnie. Say hi, Bonnie.
Hi.
And Bonnie is with Aurora Expeditions, and she's going to be giving us a rundown on everything about Aurora Expeditions.
Suzanne,
Hey, Suzanne,
Yeah.
I've got a screen that just says Zoom on it.
is everybody
I've
else
lost
listening?
everything.
We lost. Okay, we can still see you.
I see
Okay,
the
Steve,
photo.
can you pause? Can you pause the recording and we can help Dennis? All right, so we got someone's computer issues troubleshooted, and we're back to the presentation. So let me talk a little bit about Steve and I. We absolutely love being travel advisors. We are avid travelers ourselves, and we use our experience traveling the world to help our clients have what we feel like are going to be the best possible vacations for them. When you work with our agency, you've got an insider working on your behalf. You've got our expert planning assistants, and we really feel like one size doesn't fit all. So we have a very consultative planning process. We have a low price guarantee. You will never, ever, ever get a lower price going directly with the cruise line than you will through us. And help is just one phone call away. We don't have a call center. We don't have a call queue. You call, you're either going to get me or my voicemail. And if you get my voicemail, I return your call usually within an hour or so, or at least by the end of the day. So our business philosophy is really to bring very unique destination experiences to our clients. And we seek out opportunities to partner with fabulous expedition companies, because you're not even really a cruise company, like Aurora Expeditions, to really provide something completely different and unique that our clients might not have otherwise heard about. And like I said, we work with the best suppliers to provide exclusive savings to our guests, and we have that for you tonight. And then we use our own expertise to deliver a seamless travel experience to you and to make sure that you're having a meaningful travel experience. And why I want to tell you why we are so excited to be hosting our very first expedition cruise. And one of the reasons is these are the pictures that I took in Antarctica in 2020, and then just a few weeks ago in 2023. This is as close as we got. And when you see Bonnie's pictures from Antarctica and from the Arctic, you're going to see a completely different experience. Again, this is another Antarctica picture, and then the one on the bottom is Greenland. That's as close as we got to the glacier. It was beautiful, but when you're on an expedition, you get to see things so much more close up and personal. You really get to experience the wildlife. You get to see things like these two polar bears. I'm sure that was shot with a very long lens, but at the same time, where else are you going to see polar bears in the wild? And then you get to go and do landings and explore around on these zodiacs and get to see things that you wouldn't otherwise see. One thing I really like about the idea of the expedition cruise with Aurora is the ship only holds about 120 guests. That's about the same size as a river cruise, maybe even a little bit smaller. So it's very intimate, very personalized. And then you have those daily experiences that are built into the cruise, where you're really immersing yourself in the destination. Here's a picture of us. We're climbing a hillside in Austria, but we're so excited about getting ready to do this kind of thing, this kind of activity in Svalbard on our cruise. So in our presentation tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about what an expedition cruise is and what makes Aurora Expeditions very different and very unique, the destinations that they visit. And then we're going to talk about the one that we're so excited to be hosting this summer. We're hosting Svalbard in depth. That's a tongue twister for me. I don't know why. And it's going to be our 2023 hosted cruise experience. And then we also have exclusive savings for everyone who books with us within the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to turn over to Bonnie Newman, and she is my business development manager at Aurora Expeditions. And she's going to tell us why we should make Aurora Expeditions the next check mark in our ultimate bucket list. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay.
Bonnie's going to take over.
All right. Let's see. Here we go.
Got
And
it. Just go ahead.
can everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay,
All good.
perfect. So thanks, Suzanne. So again, my name is Bonnie Newman. I'm the business development manager for Aurora Expeditions, and I have a really good working relationship with Suzanne and Steve, and they are just fabulous at what they do. And I'm so excited that they're going to be participating on our Svalbard trip. So what is an expedition? Because I know a lot of companies are getting into the expedition space now. But you really have to ask yourself, is this a cruise line that is now offering expeditions, or is it an expedition cruise company? So we are an expedition cruise company. This is all we've ever done. An expedition is a journey or voyage undertaken by a group of individuals with a particular purpose. So when you're talking about Aurora Expeditions, we're there to show you the environment, have you experience the destination. We're all about life-changing expeditions. When you come off one of our expeditions, you're going to be a little bit different. You're going to be more aware of the environment wherever you are. I really got involved in a couple of research projects. And I'll talk more about that, but there is a need for exit counseling when you get off our ships because no one ever wants to get off. So we were founded by a gentleman named Aurora Expeditions, and he's an Australian mountaineer. He was the first to climb Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. We
What's
are
his
an
name?
Australian.
Greg Mortimer?
Yes.
That's his name, Greg Mortimer. Okay.
Yes. Yes. And he, is an adventure person, and he started taking tours down to Antarctica back in 1991, 1992. So he's all about getting you off the ship and taking in the destination where you are. So we opened our doors in 1991. I led the first expedition in 92. We were the founding members of IATO, which is the International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators. That's the body of that governs Antarctica. We have offered our first diving trip in Antarctica in 1998, and you can kind of see the timeline, how we've evolved, and we are now 100% carbon neutral. So we're all about sustainability and conservation. And this is what we used for about 28 years. We used the Polar Pioneer. This is what a traditional expedition ship looks like. They're old Russian kind of icebreaker ships. And this one carried 50 passengers. Well, we evolved quite a bit from that. And I'll talk more about our current ships in just a moment.
The new ship is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
So what makes us a little bit different than some of the other expedition companies out there? First of all, it's smaller group sizes. So as Suzanne mentioned, our ships carry about 120. And I'll explain why that is so important on an expedition. We have 2 brand new purpose-built ships. Our expert guide. So we have an expedition team that is second to none. We have some that have been with us for over 20 years. They keep coming back to work with us. We're all about education and enrichment. We have a true sense of adventure. We also have the world's leading activity program, which I'll talk a little bit more about. And as I mentioned, we are sustainability in action. We also include so many things when you book onto Aurora Expedition. So first off, we're going to pick you up at the airport. The first day of your trip is going to be in a hotel, and that's where we do our briefings and things like that. So that's included. And then on the way to the ship the next day, we give you your pre-voyage, like a half-a-day sightseeing tour. We include all the shore excursions, any charter flights that might be included, tips and gratuities, all the port charges, permits, landing fees. We give everybody a 3-in-1 waterproof expedition jacket. We provide muck boots during your voyage. A lot of companies, you have to rent these, but we give them to you complimentary to use. We have recyclable water bottles for everybody, and there's filling stations throughout the ship because we are sustainable. We don't use any plastics on board. And we have a professional photographer on every voyage. So as I mentioned, our expedition team really is the heart of everything that we do. They are experts in their fields, and depending on where your expedition is, if it's to Antarctica, we'll have glaciologists and perhaps ornithologists. Scotland will be ornithologists and historians. So depending on where the expedition is to, we're going to have the appropriate experts. And as I mentioned, the world's leading activity program. So here you can see many of the different activities that you can add on to the cruise. If you're an avid kayaker and you want to be on the water all day, every day, this is probably something great for you. If you want to try camping on the ice, that's available. So you can see how many different activities we offer. Like, who would have thought we offered snorkeling in Antarctica? Or, you know, the polar plunge we include on every one of our trips. So let's talk about what we specialize in, and that is the polar regions. So we specialize in the Arctic and the Antarctic. And then as we move our ships from one pole to the other, we do offer other destinations like Costa Rica, Panama Canal, places like that. So we'll talk about the Arctic because this is where Suzanne and Steve are hosting the Svalbard in depth.
I'm so excited. Polar bears. I'm so excited.
Last year, they saw so many polar bears on the trips. It was insane. I think one trip they saw 16 of them. So I'm super, super excited. Arctic fox, you'll also get a chance to see, hopefully. But a lot of people don't even know where Svalbard is or have ever heard of it. So I put this map up there just so you can kind of see in relation to the rest of Europe. So that is
Highlighted in red, right?
Svalbard right there. It's a Norwegian archipelago, and it's north of the Arctic Circle.
And interestingly enough, it is the city of Longyearbyen is the northernmost inhabited place in the world. And it's a mining community, isn't it? I believe that's and then the same with Ny-Ålesund, which is a little bit further north. It's now a research station, but at one time there was a mining operation there. So yeah, very interesting part of the world.
So this particular trip is called Svalbard in Depth, as Suzanne mentioned, and it's basically a Svalbard circumnavigation. So you'll be close to 80 degrees north. We'll be able to search for polar bears on the pack ice, but we'll also, you know, look for walrus, seals, whales, reindeers, Arctic fox, guillemots, and puffins. A lot of fjords and tundra hikes included as well. Now, on a traditional cruise, they point out the day-by-day itinerary. You're going to be at this port, the next day you're going to be at this port, so on. On an expedition, everything is weather dependent because you're going to very remote places. So we don't ever publish where specifically we're going, because if we can't get there, our expedition team is going to say, okay, let's go around this corner and see what's around that corner. So it's very, very fluid when you're on an expedition. So on this particular expedition, as I mentioned, the transfer from the airport to the hotel is included, one-night hotel accommodation, including breakfast, our half-a-day sightseeing tour on the way to the ship, and then all of the accommodations, meals, coffee and tea during the voyage, beer and house wine and soft drinks with dinner. We have a captain's welcome and farewell receptions. All your short excursions and Zodiac cruises are included, the lectures, the guiding services, access to the expedition doctor should you need that, the 3-in-1 polar jacket. So you've got a puffy on the inside, a puffy jacket on the inside, and you've got your waterproof layer on the outside. You can take them apart if you want. I always leave them together just because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to snap them up, but you do have that option. Complimentary use of the muck boots, all the pre-departure information, port charges, gratuities, and I forgot to mention Wi-Fi is also included, complimentary.
You have
But
to
I
wear the
forgot
muck
to
boots
ask.
when you go ashore?
Pardon me?
Do you have to wear the muck boots when you go ashore?
It's recommended.
Okay, I was wondering whether, if you have hiking boots, whether you,
especially in Antarctica, and it might be the same in the Arctic. So in Antarctica, I'm just trying to think, actually, we did that in Scotland as well. So there's been quite a bad avian flu that's been going around. So we're very cognizant. So when you wear your muck boots and you get on and off the ship, you have to put your shoes in this solution. It's a disinfecting solution, and you don't want to put your regular shoes in it.
Okay.
And
I
we
have-
do that every time we get on and off because we don't want to transfer anything from one area to another.
Okay. And the I think the closest thing you get to a formal night on an expedition cruise is a penguin in Antarctica, right?
Exactly.
It's all expedition casual, sweaters,
It's
jeans.
very much casual. So
Yes.
you don't want to bring a lot of clothes. Jeans, boots, and a sweater is what I wear for dinner. And then for breakfast and lunch, I'll wear tennis shoes, jeans, and a sweatshirt. So I just changed the top. So it's very, very casual on board. No formal nights or anything like that.
Yeah, presentations at night?
We do. So what typically a day would look like is you have your wake up call around 6:30 or so. The expedition leader comes on and gives you the wake up call. And at first, I'll be honest, I was like, I've got to turn this off. I don't want a wake up call. I want to sleep.
Not me.
And, as the week and the trip went on, I looked forward to it. And, they tell you about what time and where we're trying to go. And then breakfast will be in like a half an hour. And then you come back to your room, you get in your clothes, and then you get off the ship, and then you come back, take off your gear, put your sweatshirt on or whatever, go to lunch. And as you're at lunch, we move the ship to a different location. And then you get off the ship again. And then sometimes you get off a third time, depending on where we are. And then we'll have a briefing. Usually people will get together for some cocktails and then go to the briefing where they talk about the day and the day ahead. And then everyone goes to dinner. And then some people, have after dinner drinks. A lot of people go to bed because you're exhausted after being out all day. And so it's really up to you. But yes, we do have the lectures on board. So a more detailed itinerary of the Svalbard trip. So you'll arrive in Longyearbyen. And then when you get to the hotel, we have a hospitality desk set up, and that's where we give you your baggage tags. Everyone does have to have a negative COVID test, so they'll look at that. If you need to get one, they can arrange it for you there. And then the next day, you get a breakfast, the half a day sightseeing tour, you go to the Svalbard Museum, and then you get on the ship. And when you get on board, you'll settle into your cabin, and then there'll be the mandatory life jacket drill. And then we set sail, and then there'll be a captain's welcome dinner. And it's just really, really fun because the excitement starts to, come alive there. And then days 3 through 14, you're out exploring the Svalbard archipelago. And it will be almost 24 hours of daylight. So there's a lot to see. And our curtains in the room are blackout curtains, so you don't have to worry. And then on day 15, you disembark back in Longyearbyen. We don't suggest booking a flight home until after 12 o'clock. And this is our ship, the brand new Sylvia Earle. She came out, her first sailing was December 9th, and I was fortunate to be on it. I absolutely love this ship. As Suzanne mentioned, our
What-
ships.
I
Go
was
ahead.
saying quite a bit of change from that old icebreaker
From the
that you
Polar
used to
Pioneer,
have.
yes. Our ship holds about 120, and we say about, it's because sometimes we have triple, sometimes we have single, so an average of about 120. There was 117 on my trip to Antarctica, and Scotland we had 77, so it really all depends.
Wow.
But the Sylvia Earle is named after the world-renowned oceanographer and marine biologist, and every floor on the ship is named after a female conservationist. So it's really neat. So on this particular ship here, downstairs is the Citizen Science Center, which I'll talk a little bit more about as we go on. And upstairs is the library. The cabins are beautiful. So you can do double beds or twin beds. They either have a sofa or chairs. 99% of the rooms have full balconies. There's flat screen TVs, heated bathroom floors. It's just really comfortable, lots of storage area. So this is the very front of the ship, and the picture on the right is actually looking out of those windows, the triangular windows that you see on the left. So this is our lecture theater. There's monitors all around. Even if you're sitting in the back, there'll be monitors, so you'll be able to see everything. You don't have to worry about missing anything. And we have two bars. So we've got our Deck 8 observation lounge and bar. So it's a very popular place for people to just sit and see outside. And then the Deck 5
forward
lounge.
or aft?
It is aft. No, I'm sorry, it's forward, because I was in the aft, it's forward. And then the lounge on Deck 5 is right outside the lecture theater. So everyone kind of congregates there before the lectures, before dinner. The Sylvia Earle has 2 jacuzzis and a heated pool. I don't have a picture of the pool. It wasn't filled on our particular trip. And then the gym there. The main restaurant, so breakfast and lunch are going to be buffet. Dinner will be a la carte, where you order off a menu. The Sylvia Earle has the Rockhopper restaurant on Deck 8. It's an enclosed restaurant, and that's a grill, so you can get your steaks and your chops and family style sides. It's phenomenal. And there's no extra charge. You just have to make a reservation. And we have mud rooms on both ships. And this is great because you don't have to carry your boots and your life jacket or anything up to your room. You can leave them all down here. You're assigned one particular locker, and it's yours for the duration of the trip. We have 17 Zodiacs that we carry on board. And like I said, the food is phenomenal. And these are pictures of some of the meals I had in the main restaurant.
Go on a Zodiac at one time. How many people on a Zodiac?
That's like an average of 8.
Yeah, 8 to 10. It really depends. So.
And how many guides with them?
So our guide to guest ratio is there's one guide for every 7 passengers.
Wow.
So yeah. So in addition to the Arctic, we also do Scotland, Iceland, Greenland, and we were doing the Russian Far East, which we are not at the moment, hopefully one day. And so I talked about Svalbard in depth. We also do Iceland circumnavigation, the Greenland Odyssey, which is a new one for us. It gives you East and West Greenland, which I would love to do this one. The Northwest Passage, very, very popular. We do offer those that go halfway through. And this is the full Northwest Passage that goes all the way to Alaska.
Oh my God, that's looking.
Ultimate bucket list item for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is a 30-day trip.
Oh,
Not cheap for the faint of heart.
The Northern Lights Explorer, this is in September. Ireland, Scotland Discovery is happening in May. Canary Islands, Azores, Cape Verde. This is coming up in April. And then of course the Costa Rica Panama Canal is one that we always have. For 2024, we're not doing Canary Islands, but rather we're doing Chilean fjords in Patagonia. I love this one. This is really unique because you can get off the ship, hike through Torres del Paine National Park, spend the night right there, and then the next day hike up and then catch the ship on the other end. So I think that's amazing. And the beauty of the fjords is unbelievable. And then we're also offering Wild Scotland in 24. This is one that I did last year. So we offer this one every other year. So let's talk about Antarctica for a bit. A lot of people ask me, since we're an Australian company, why don't we go from Australia? Well, you can kind of see the distance. It would take about a week to get to Antarctica from Australia. From South America on the left there, it takes 36 hours. So it's a lot closer. Also, we offer some trips where you can fly over the Drake Passage, and the Drake Passage is between the Antarctic Peninsula and South America. It's some of the roughest waters in the world. And I hesitate because I've been across it 6 times and it hasn't been that bad. So once it was a lake. So you just never know, but we do offer those trips where you fly over the Drake Passage. A lot of activities that happen on our trips in Antarctica. You can ski, camp out on the ice, kayak, scuba dive, snorkel, snowshoe. So a lot of different activities. Or you can do the zodiacs and the hikes and be right up close and personal with the penguins.
Wow.
And we include the polar plunge on all of our trips. So these are all options that you can add on to your trip. And they are seasonal. So certain times of the year, we won't offer, some of them. So for example, skiing in Antarctica is only early season. Scuba diving is only late season. So it varies.
So these are all at an extra charge, right?
Yes, they are, because there's limited space as well, and they are full programs. So for example, if you signed up for kayaking, you would be kayaking every day, 2 times a day, for the duration of the trip.
Wow.
But the
If
zodiac,
you wanted to skip one, you'd be able to skip it and use something else.
yeah,
But
you could,
Yes.
you could.
to reserve the seat
Zodiac
for you for the entire time.
The Zodiac excursions are included at no extra charge. They're part of the program.
They're part of the program. Yeah. So these are for people that really want to be on the water every day. I did the kayaking program, but I really just did it one day because I preferred to be on the Zodiacs and hiking on land. So, it's really up to people. If you want to be on the water every day, the kayak program is amazing. We carry all of our own gear. So you get your own dry suit. We fit you on the kayaks. So there's full briefings. If you're a beginner and you just want to try it, our guides are there to help you. And the advantage of being in a kayak is you get little friends that come up to you sometimes. So I mentioned the citizen science program. So we do this on every one of our sailings, and we are currently involved in 7 different projects. So we, along with our guests, if you want to participate in actual research projects that are happening. And these are the ones that we're currently involved in right now. I love the microplastics. I find it fascinating. A lot of people like the happy whale where you count the whales and so forth. So these are the ones that we're involved in. If you'd like to get involved, it's there for you. So when I talk about Antarctica and the size of the ship, it's very important to know why a smaller ship is better in Antarctica specifically. But overall, if you have a smaller group sizes, it's quicker to get into the Zodiacs and get on shore. I mean, we can load or offload everybody on the ship within a half an hour. So it's really quick. But specifically for Antarctica, there is a treaty and it states vessels with more than 500 passengers cannot make landings in Antarctica. So as Suzanne's mentioned on her cruise, they actually just kind of sailed by. If you have more than 100, or actually, let me rephrase that. Only 100 people can be on land at any one time. So if you're on a ship that has 200 people, 100 get off, 100 wait on the boat. Then they rotate. So you're kind of not experiencing as much as you possibly can because you're waiting for your turn to get off the ship. So if we have 120 people and 40 people are doing kayaking and snorkeling and, you know, whatnot, the other activities, we can take everybody else and we can land at the same time. So what that means is we're maximizing your time on land. We're able to do 2 to 3 landings a day, whereas most people only have time to do 0 to 2. So we're all about maximizing the amount of time you're experiencing the destination. Our other new ship is called the Greg Mortimer, named after our founder. And one thing I wanted to point out.
I was just saying, don't forget to talk about the X-Bow. Don't forget to talk about the X-Bow.
So the weird shaped nose in the very front, it looks like an upside down hull. So when the waters are a bit rougher, in a traditional boat, that hull is going to slam down onto the waves. So they studied dolphins and they discovered that with this X-bow, kind of the rounded nose, we kind of glide through the waves like a dolphin. So it's a lot smoother, a lot more stable, and a lot more fuel efficient. So we helped design this technology. And now if you see like any of the newer expedition ships, or even maybe even the larger ships, they're all going to start having this technology because it's a lot more stable and fuel efficient.
Norwegian Prima and the Celebrity Edge series have a version of an X-Bow.
Yeah,
it's
so,
not as extreme, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, so you know, when you talk about the Drake Passage and the rough waters, this helps tremendously on that. So the Greg Mortimer is very similar to the Sylvia Earle. The rooms are extremely comfortable. I think I mentioned the heated bathroom floors. So it's great when you come in after your morning outing, and if your gloves are a little bit wet, you can dry them on the floor. But it's also nice to just, when you're stepping out of the shower, to step onto a heated floor. It's great. This is the lecture theater on the Greg Mortimer, the library, the weight room.
Wow.
There's a spa and sauna on both ships. The main dining room, very similar. I do want to say the dining on board, it's open seating, and you can go at any time between, you know, whatever time it opens and closes. So, and you could sit at a table for 2 or a table for 8. It depends on, you know, whatever you like. On the Greg Mortimer, we have an outdoor grill. So we do barbecues outside, super fun.
Jesus.
And there's a lot of deck space and glass on our ship. So no matter where you are, you're going to have a great view. It's also really bright inside the ships because there's a lot of windows. But, you know, looking at this deck and, you know, having the expedition leader come on and spot a pod of whales on the left side of the ship, and everybody goes to the left side, there's always room to see. You're not going to be 4 people deep trying to get a view.
Mark, if you look at the picture, these ships are what, PC 6 or 5?
Yes, 6.
PC 6, so they actually can go through 7, 8 inches of ice. So you'll be going right through the ice. I mean, it's you're not standing off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of deck space.
And on our recent big ship experience in Antarctica, there was a lot of like waiting for someone to walk away from the rail so you could get up to the rail and take a picture. And so, you know, I'm super excited about being on this ship with only 120
and you have your
other
balcony
guests.
too, your balcony.
Yes.
And there's just so much. You just never feel crowded.
You're so close to the water too. I mean, if you're on a big ship, you're 14 decks up, and you're, you know, whereas here you're just right there. The penguins are swimming by, they're right there.
Exactly. This is the kayak program. So this was my kayak guide, and he's giving us a lesson on kayaking. And then I was, you know, in the water right there on the right. And there I am on the right hand side. I was the front person there. So it was super fun. if you're into kayaking. These were the snowshoers. And then these were the snorkelers.
Those dry suits
Cool.
are funny.
Yeah. And then they got to step out on some ice there from the Zodiac. And just lots of fun. Everyone becomes a family when you're on board, hence the need for exit counseling because no one wants to leave their family. But lots of fun. So I got to do some hiking up there. And this was out on deck one afternoon. We were all just hanging out there taking pictures. Really fun. And then we went to Elephant Island and saw so many elephant seals. And I almost tripped on one because they blend in. And just really amazing. A lot of penguins. And so you can see on the left, see how they blend in? If they're sleeping, you just don't even see them. And then the polar plunge, of course, you have to do that. You have to do that. It's not so bad.
I know.
We always keep track of where we go. You know, when you're doing 2 to 3 landings a day and it's multiple days, you tend to, unless you keep up with your journaling or Facebook posts, it's really hard to remember where you've been. So this is great. And this was our expedition team, and this was the expedition team with everyone. And we also offer trekking programs. So if anyone isn't interested in trekking and hiking, we do have some standalone programs. And I just want to share my Scotland trips because I thought I knew Scotland until they sent me on this trip, and I was blown away. So when I got into my cabin, I had my jacket and my water bottle. The food was phenomenal. This was our barbecue that we did. We had sun every single day. And just the beauty of Scotland, we found puffins and lots of different birds, and the scenery was amazing. And I don't know if you've heard of Fingal's Cave. Fingal's Cave is on the right. This is on the Isle of Staffa. It's these basalt columns. Really interesting. We hiked up, we found a bunch of puffins, and then we got on the Zodiacs and we explored caves. And then on the way back to the ship, we were chased by dolphins. It was absolutely amazing.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Scotland might be next on my list.
It's an amazing trip. We saw the Callanish Stones on the Isle of Lewis. We went to St. Kilda. So really, you know, we go to very remote places, as you can see, the Broch of Musa. This is an old medieval house. And you go in it and our historian kind of explains the history and how life was back then. And Fula. So this is where we hiked to the other side of the island, and it was sun and beautiful. And then we walked back, got in the Zodiacs, and did exploring caves. It was phenomenal. And that was our expedition team. And I do want to mention health and safety on board. So we do require everyone to be vaccinated with 1 booster. We do test for COVID before you board. And currently we're testing on day 2 of the cruise. We have a fully equipped medical center. We've got a doctor, nurse, and medic on board, and all of our air is 100% fresh. We do not recirculate any of our air. So it's safety first, always. A couple of promotions we have. So if any of you are solo travelers, we are offering a no solo supplement on these expeditions here. It's basically any of the 2023 Arctic programs. So it's no solo supplement based off of the full fare. And then
That's true for the one we're doing too, right?
Yes.
If anybody's,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And then we also have a $600 air credit or complimentary activity on any of the 2023 expeditions. So if you do want to do the kayaking, you can.
I was going to say, for the air credit, is that towards, like, if we book your air through your air program, we get $600 off, or how does it work?
It's basically a $600 discount because we don't do air.
Okay.
So it's basically a discount that you can apply towards your air.
Okay, perfect.
And that is it. So I'll send it back to Suzanne, unless anyone has any questions.
Okay, I'm going to pull up my closing slide that I have and just share that really quickly because this is the exciting part. Okay, so you're ready to go. You're going to call me for a no obligation quote. We've got 30% off the June 26, 2023 Svalbard in-depth cruise. But if that week doesn't work for you and you saw something else that just really excited you, whether it be Scotland or Antarctica, Chilean fjords, or another Arctic cruise, maybe the Northern Lights, we will give you an extra 5% off. A lot of the cruises are running with a standard rate of like 15% off right now. So we give you an extra 5% off, you get 20% off. And if it's 20% off, we give you another 5%. So it's up to 25% off of any cruise, any of the other Aurora Expedition cruises, if you're not able to come with us to Svalbard. And you got to book by March. No, and 24. 23 and 24. And you must book by March 16th to get this offer in conjunction with this presentation. So I am going to unshare.
Oh, here comes David and
Oh,
Glenda
here's
now.
Glenda, David Glendon. Better late than never.
Oh, they're there.
Okay.
They're on Dallas time or something.
Yeah, I know. Well, do you know what? They had bad weather. I'm thinking that maybe they lost their electricity or something. But we'll just open it up to questions now. Glenda and David, we're recording this session, so you'll get a copy of the recording. Anybody have any questions or any slides that you need us to go back and share, review again?
Well, Suzanne, I have a question. It's Mary.
Yes.
On the
Yes.
Aurora Expeditions, what type of cancellation policy do they have? For
Okay.
like, okay.
So our deposit requirement is a $2,500 per person deposit. It's non-refundable. However, if you needed to change the trip to a different date, or you decide you don't want to do Scotland, you'd rather do, Chilean fjords, you can move it to any other trip as long as it's outside of 90 days prior. Because at 90 days prior is when your final payment or full payment is due. So as long as it's before that, we'll allow you to move it to another trip without any extra charge.
Right. And then
Okay,
for
that sounds good.
cancellations, yeah, and for cancellations inside of that 90 days, you can purchase the leisure care travel protection plan that we sell. And that will cover you for emergency cancellations, illness, death in the family, house becomes unoccupiable, all those crazy emergency situations. So we do sell the leisure care
require
product.
insurance too. So yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. All right. Any other questions?
So where do we see all of your itinerary, all of your cruises? Just go to aurora.com
It's-
or something? Or
no,
Aurora
it's-
dash. Go ahead,
It's
sorry.
Aurora-Expeditions, plural.com. If you just do Aurora Expeditions, you'll still see our site, but then you can change the little flag on the upper right. It'll just take you to our Australian version.
So the Aurora Expeditions is the US version.
Yes.
Oh.
And all of our voyages are loaded in the system through September, October of 24, I believe. So that would end with the Northwest Passage.
So whatever you're seeing there, Dennis, for rates, it has, 10, 15, whatever that might be % off.
Yeah, the
The
easiest
promotion for
way
the
to,
next two. Go ahead.
if you want to see our voyage calendar, I think it's on the orange ribbon. You'll see voyage calendar. If you click on that, it gives you kind of chronologically the different trips that we offer, and they're hyperlinks. So if you click on it, it will take you to that page on our website.
So like if I know when I look on the website, just to kind of I was familiarizing myself to it, you can click on the highlight destinations, you can click Antarctica, and it gives you all, let me share this. Why don't I share the screen just to show
Yeah,
you?
or
what they've
yeah, that's a
got?
good
Yeah.
idea, or I can too.
Let me go back to here. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share this one. Okay. Share. So like I click, destinations. Oops, I got to move this because this is on. You can see that, can't you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got destinations. We've got Antarctica. So we can click here and then it shows you all the different, South Georgia and Antarctica, Antarctica Peninsula, Antarctic Explorer Express, the 9 days. You get 5 days in Antarctica on that one,
Yeah,
actually
that's
on
our
land.
that's our quickest trip. It's for those that are, really have the time crunch.
Yeah. But then if you go to the Arctic, like what we're doing, Svalbard, I click there. So you can see, so this one is the one we're doing, Svalbard in depth. And it's 15% off right now. Plus we're giving another, or it's 10% off.
Well, yeah.
So we're doing it 30% off if you're able to join this one. It'll be off of this price here.
Yeah, Suzanne, if you scroll down and then you click on cabins and prices, because sometimes certain categories will have different discounts. So like
Yeah.
category C has the 15% off right there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're doing 30% on this particular voyage.
Yes.
Okay.
For any other cruises, you can add 5 to whatever you see number there as long as you book in the next 2 weeks. As long as you don't go above 25.
Exactly. And then
right,
do you want to click on the voyage calendar real quick? It's in the orange right above it. No,
wait,
over
All right.
one.
Voyage calendar, there we
Yeah.
go.
So this is how I usually find, because it's chronological. So this will be Antarctica 22, 23. And if you scroll down, you'll see the
Cape
Azores,
Verde, yeah, the
the
Latin
Costa
America.
Rica, and then those are all hyperlinks too.
Oh, awesome. Cool. And then in 24, you're doing Scotland again, right?
Yes. So if you keep scrolling down. So this
Wild
is the
Scotland.
Yep, there it is.
There
There it is right there.
it is.
There's
That's
some
the one that,
really good pricing on that
it's
one
so
right
cool.
now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to quit sharing. We're going to go back to. Okay, I'm so bad at navigating. Okay. Well, are there any other questions anybody has? Well, then
So
let's.
we're totally on our own for air.
Well, I can help you with that.
Suzanne can
I
help
have
with that.
access to air program, but yeah, they don't really have an air program. They're like too small a company that
Well,
you wouldn't.
but for example, what that means for our June 26 typically is you would get yourself to Longyearbyen. So you'd probably go through Oslo, or you can go through Paris or Helsinki, but Oslo's a very nice one. And then you fly from Oslo to Longyearbyen, and that's when they pick you up.
Yeah,
Take
it
that's
to
exactly how I did my air too.
Yeah, so we're flying to Oslo, spending 2 nights in Oslo to make sure. I mean, Oslo's beautiful, why not? And then we're going to fly from Oslo to Longyearbyen, and then we have the 1 night there, and then we board the ship the next day.
We're doing 2 nights in Oslo. Good.
You didn't remember that? Yeah, those are, and we booked our hotel. We got everything all booked. So if you're joining us, you just do the same thing with us, and you're good to go. But anything else that you want to do, like when you do Antarctica, do you guys do a charter flight from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia?
No, you have
not?
to get yourself to Ushuaia, and
To
then
Ushuaia, okay.
and then if there's a flight involved to King George Island, we do include that, but that would be out of Punta Arenas.
Okay.
We've talked about, how do we get a charter flight, but the challenge for us is there's so many people doing pre and post and Patagonia and all these that we could never fill a flight.
Because you only have 120 people on your ship.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you wanted to do Antarctica, that's something that I can certainly use my expertise to help with. I'd probably book you for a couple nights in Buenos Aires. So you fly to Buenos Aires, get to see BA, and then fly from there to Ushuaia round trip, and then have another night in BA coming back. Just for padding. I mean, it just makes sense for logistics. And that's usually what I do with my clients that are sailing out of Ushuaia is
Yeah,
do
and
that, the
Ushuaia
pre
is
and
really,
post. And
it's really a fun place also. If you like to do hiking and things, it's beautiful. And they have amazing seafood there.
yes, they do. They do. They do very much. I've been to Ushuaia twice now. And I think Dennis, you've been to Ushuaia, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, we went
Okay.
there on our around. the
Chilean
horn.
Fjords cruise. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there any other questions we
Quick
can
questions,
answer?
yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and stop the recording. Sometimes people are shy, and then when the recording stops, they like to ask